In C#6, there came a new concept of initializing class properties inline rather than initializing them with the types constructor. The auto property initializer is a handy technique in C#6. If you want to make the setter of a property private to block users from setting value in the property by an instance, you can just declare a getter-only property. So let's go ahead and examine the auto property initializer. So right up here, I'm in my static class associated up here. I'm in my public static class, static6. I'm just going to take off this static associated in this class temporarily. And I want to just demonstrate for you the auto property initializers that we have in C#6. So let's go ahead and let's create a few properties. So at the top here, I'm going to type prop, which is the shorthand, tab, and it automatically creates a property for myself. I'm going to give it a data type of string, and I'm going to just leave it my string. And then I'm going to create another property here. And then I'm going to make it an int value, and I'm just going to call it my int. Now, typically in previous versions of C#, you will initialize these values inside of a constructor. So you'll come down here, and since we're in public class static6, we would come down here and we would type public to create our constructor, and we would say static6, open and close, and then we would set the values associated with these items. So let's say my string equals my value. I would come in here and set my int now equal to, let's say, 6. And right there, I'm initializing the properties through a constructor. And this is how you would do it in previous versions of C#. So in this case, we're going to come down here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to comment this out temporarily. And I'm going to go to my C#6 auto property initializer right here. And I'm going to create the same items here. So let's go prop, tab, and I'm going to just copy what I have here. And instead, I'm going to take the set out of this, just the get to read, and the getter only property with the inline initialization is what I'm going to implement right here. I can automatically initialize the property right here. Instead of having to set the values in the constructor to be passed, I can say right here, my value. And look at that. Instead of setting it directly in the constructor, I can associate a default value on the property itself. And then I can implement property with inline initialization. This previous one I have right here is the getter only property with inline initialization. So let's go down here. Let's implement the public int my int property. And then I want to go ahead and set this equal to 6. So in C#6, you do not have to pass it to the constructor associated with your class. You can come down here and set it directly on the property. This is a nice way to set default values on your properties. This is a great way to implement auto property initializers in C#6. It eliminates having to pass the values directly to your constructor, and you can give a default value on that property without having to pass it to the constructor. I want to thank you for joining me in this lecture. Have a nice day.